Ecologically sensitive planning and budgeting are vital in addressing climate change. Prioritizing sustainable practices while planning and budgeting not only curtails adverse effects of climate change, but also safeguards communities against climate-related disasters. The Legal Resources Foundation, in collaboration with the Humanist Institute for Development Cooperation, HIVOS, under the project Voices of Just Climate Action, conducted an ecologically sensitive planning and budgeting workshop in Kakamega County. The project entailed a discussion on how climate change manifests interdepartmentally in Kakamega County.
In various ways, the climate change has manifested in our department. Disasters have occurred that had never occurred even before. For instance, landslides, mudslides that have never occurred in Kakamega County. We have floods that used to occur in the urban areas alone, but as we speak, the recent rainfall affected major parts of the county. The other part is the economic standards of the county, because our people, the crops are carried away. They are not in a position to undertake their normal activities.
Yeah, we have had cases where there's intense flooding within my wards. We have had cases of flooding along River Isuho, that's the main river within the wards. And these have come with catastrophic effects. We've lost lives, people have lost crops and animals. These two wards also border the Nandi escarpment. We have had, there's so much human activity along the escarpment. Our citizens have resided along the escarpment, and because of so much human activity, some of our people are washed away in mudslides. And again, this has, the effects have been very bad. We've lost lives as a result of this in the past.
There's a lot of change in crop harvest. There's also been infestation by crop pests within their farms, especially the fall armyworms. In the Nocha region, most people are facing water scarcity and a little bit of dry spell during the planting season. And given that Kakamega is a agriculture county, we mostly depend on rain-fed agriculture. However, of late, the rains have been erratic, either coming too much or when it's least expected. Some time back, we also had some flooding within the River Nzoia, so the roads were affected there. And there's a time where we also had landslides in Malava sub-county around Kuvasali.
It also entailed an analysis of the climate change legislations in Kakamega County to assess how they address climate change.
As a county, remember we are a public service sector. We are supposed to lead in the legislation. What we did as a first step, we did the policy. We have the climate change policy, that is for the 2020. Then we also did the Climate Change Act. It's for the 2020. However, when we were doing the Climate Change Act, we realized there are some gaps which we needed to streamline to make sure the administrative structure is well defined and their roles are clear. So we went ahead and did the climate change regulations in 2021. We also have a climate change action plan. We also have the financing strategy, gender mainstreaming policy, among other legislations. But the key are the Climate Change Act 2020, the Climate Change Regulations 2021, and the Climate Change Action Plan, which we have reviewed. We have a new one for 2023 to 2027.
It also involved an analysis on financing and community participation in climate change decisions.
We have climate change committees for each and every of the 60 wards in the county, Isuha East and Isuha North included. About 20 members, committee members drawn from each of the wards. So some of these, these committee members have the responsibility to identify climate change hotspots and report them, and even report disasters resulting from climate change as and when they happen, so that reports are urgently written for mitigations to be undertaken. Again, we use public barazas routine public barazas to address people on issues of climate change, to educate them, to give them information on how to avoid disasters resulting from climate change, against even destroying the forests, for example, which would result to effects of climate change.
We have a multi-sectoral committees that has membership from learning institutions. We have membership from the community leaders that we engage them on quarterly basis. Number two is that every time there is an information from the meteorology department that there's a change in the weather patterns, we hold meetings with the community through the barazas, either through the chiefs or even the administrators, the county administrators, to inform them on what is expected of them because of the climate change.
Also, it dwelled on the advocacy strategies used to ensure that the county deploys ecologically sensitive planning and budgeting in the county.
Now, to remember, when you're talking about climate change, in order to be successful in addressing the problems, you need to have an ecosystem-based approach. So to do this, we make sure that in the stakeholders, when we already have a stakeholder engagement plan where we've mapped out all the stakeholders and their different interests within the climate space, so we know how best we can incorporate them during the various stages, either in the planning, implementation, or the monitoring phases. So we have identified all the stakeholders. There are those who are interested with the environment being conserved. There are those who are interested in socio-economic benefits, and there are those who are generally interested with the the political issues. So there are different categories. Those are just a few that I've identified. So each one of them brings their input on board so that we can address them. And this is clearly seen even in the development of those committees. You'll see that in each committee, we at least have a public benefit organization representative, a person with disability, and a faith-based organization. At the ward, we have also included the representatives for youths so that they can articulate well the issues that youths need to be escalated in the climate change space.
You know, our main document on financing and budgeting starts with the CIDP, where we identify through public participations county-wide on areas that require financing, and these go to areas of agriculture, areas of roads, and many other departments or other areas that need allocation of resources within the county. So when members of the public are invited in the public participation fora, they identify some of these areas where we would require allocation of funds from the county kitty or the treasury, allocated through the CIDP and annual development plans and the budget itself, to ensure that monies go into agriculture, monies go into environment, where, for example, we even have trees. We have a program within the Department of Environment, where we take trees to schools. We plant trees along the escarpment. We plant trees on the mountains, on the hills within the county. And so the monies are allocated to the specific areas. Right. We even have monies allocated to the Department of Agriculture that are meant to go into mitigating for drought and that kind of stuff within the county. But members of the public have their voice within this CIDP, within the annual development plan, and even the county assembly that constitutes our representatives. They all converge and we agree on where to allocate these resources to cater for all areas in the budgeting. Thank you.
We have changed how we prepare to undertake projects, especially during public participation, so that we know which project would specifically answer the question of mitigation against climate change. I will pick one of them, for instance, in development projects like construction activities. Our BQs have a green part in it, and I say green means that we consider that they are proof, they are flood proof, they are landslide proof, such. Then Sensitization and awareness is part and parcel of every project that is going to be undertaken, so that the public can know that how we are going to undertake the project is different from the past. Yeah.
At the end of the workshop, appropriate actions were developed as well as advocacy strategies to ensure that the county deploys ecologically sensitive planning and budgeting in the county. These action points include capacity strengthening of chiefs as public service champions, having water points for animals, a follow-up on itemized budgets at national and county levels, social accountability, sensitization on agroecology, riparian restoration and regeneration, sensitization of governors, and public participation. This production has been brought to you by Haki FM in collaboration with the Legal Resources Foundation, HIVOS, and the Voices of Just Climate Action. My name is Terin Jueni.